Hello, and welcome to Obey Your Inner Chef. My name is Danielle Vaughn, and I'm the head culinary instructor here at the Blairsville, North Georgia Tech campus. So a little bit about the show today. We've got Mila with us. Mila is one of my students, and Mila's been with me, what, year and a half probably? I think a year and a half. So she's going to help me today, and one reason she's on the show today is because I kind of got called out a little bit of Chef never bakes anything. So today we're going to bake. So Mark, this one's for you. All right, Mila. Today we're going to make, what are we making? Butter tea cookies and blueberry muffins is what we're going to make. So another reason Mila is on the show is this is practice for her. She's competing next week in Skills USA, so she's going to be in my commercial baking competition. She's my competitor that's going down to compete for that. And she competed last year for North Georgia Tech and never had baking. And what place did you get last year? Third? We got third in the state last year, so we're going down for the gold this year. So the two recipes that we're using are actually the competition recipes. So we're going to make competition muffins and competition cookies for you today. So we're going to get started. And you notice she's the one that's in front of the mixer, not me. So, all right, which one do you want to do first, Mila? The cookies or the muffins? All right, let's do the cookies. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the mixing bowl here. And what she's going to put in the mixing bowl is butter. How much butter you got there? 5.5 ounces of butter is what we're putting in. Then we're also going to put in shortening, and it's 5.5 ounces as well. So we've got equal amounts butter to shortening is what we're going to use. And what we're going to do is, are you going to add the sugar next? Yes. All right, so we're going to add in, I'm just making sure, you know, because who knows. So we're going to add in the sugar. And what this is called, this is a straight dough. So we're going to add in, or batter, it's really a batter instead of a dough. So we're going to add in everything. What do you got there? Sugar?
Yes, granulated sugar.
Granulated sugar, how much was over there? 5.5 ounces as well is what we're using of the sugar. And you can see here that she's got, come this way a little so they can see you a little more. There. Okay. So she's putting the sugar through a sieve just to make sure there's no lumps or anything like that in it. We want to make sure that it is granulated, that it is in granules. And then we're also going to add in powdered sugar here, and it's 3 ounces of powdered sugar is what we're adding in. And now she's sifting it. So, and what this is going to do is going to make everything kind of incorporate a little bit better together. You know, like I said, no clumps. We don't want clumpy batter. So you can see she's using her hand, and it's going through. You know, most time in the South, we have those crank sifters. Well, we don't have those. Those rust a lot, so this is really kind of like a strainer instead of a sieve, but it works just as well. So anything that's got like fine mesh holes on it at home that you want to use, you can always use it. So she's got all of her dry ingredients in there, and she's going to attach the bowl to the mixer. And this is, hold on, this is the paddle attachment. So most of the time when you buy a mixer, it comes with a paddle attachment. It comes with a whisk, and it comes with a dough hook. So the paddle is used to mix, to incorporate things together. You're going to use a whisk attachment if you want to incorporate air. If you're making like a meringue, or if you're making whipped topping, if you're making a meringue cookie, what else would you use the whisk for? Yeah, cakes, if you want like a genoa cake or something like that, a sponge cake, an angel food cake, you would use the whisk for that. And then of course your dough hook, because it looks like a thing that Captain Hook would have from the movie, you know, like he's just going to kind of reach out and grab you, is what it looks like. And of course it's a name for itself, it's a dough hook, so it's used for making doughs. Pizza doughs, bread, any kind of dough that you make. So I'm going to let her have it back. She's probably better with this thing than I am, so I'm going to let her do her magic over here. So she's attaching it on, and we're going to start off on 1. Why do you think we're going to start off on 1? Because we don't want flour everywhere. Did I scare you? Yes. Okay. So we're going to start off on 1. Go ahead. And we're just going to kind of let everything mix together. And what we have in here with the butter And with the shortening is it's going to almost form like a little pellet type thing, like little beads is what it's going to do. And that means it's creaming together. So this is a creaming method here. So we're going to let that mix for a few seconds. And you know, when you make biscuits, if you make biscuits by hand, a lot of times you'll get that pebbly like texture, or if you're making a pie crust or something like that, you get that pebbledy like texture that you're looking for. So as you can see here, I'm going to stop it. And I'm going to drop the bowl just so they can see. So you can see how this is creamed together. Everything was in there, and now it's kind of all come together. It's not the pebbly texture anymore. It's, you know, fat is fat, so it's very moist and fat. So we're going to put it back on. All right. Now we're going to add in our liquid here. We've got 3 eggs. Now we already cracked 2 eggs for you, but I wanted to show you something about eggs. We don't use eggs a lot on the show, but anytime that you're using an egg, whether it's to make a quiche, a frittata, cupcakes, muffins, brownies, you know, whatever you're doing, it's always good to take your eggs and crack them in a separate bowl before you add them to a batch, because if you get a bad egg, if you go ahead and crack it with the other ones, you could ruin the whole batch, and then you're going to have to throw it out. So it's always just kind of a good practice just to crack your egg in a separate bowl just to make sure the egg's good. Now, another reason that if you crack it in a separate bowl is if you get in a hurry and you get eggshells in there, it's easier to dig out eggshells out of one compared to if there's a whole batch of them in there. Nobody wants to, you know, they say sometimes cakes have surprises in them, but you don't want the eggshell to be a surprise. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add it in with our other ones because it's okay. So if we were doing a lot of eggs, we would do them one by one before we added them. All right? So Mila, I'm going to let you add the eggs in for me. Sometimes when baking, you add 1 egg at a time, and you mix that 1 egg at a time, and that looks like what we're doing today too. So she's going to add in 1 egg, and she's going to let it incorporate. So it's going to mix for a moment, and then she'll add in the next egg, and then the next egg. So that's 1 egg at a time. So that's how it's going to work today. All right? And you'll notice that the mixture will start to turn a little bit yellow because of the yolks in it. All right? And you notice that when she's adding the other egg, she's turning off the mixer. And what she's doing is it's a little safer to work with by turning it off, because if it, you know, she's putting it in there, there's possibility of being egg all over the, you know, we don't want egg everywhere. I mean, we've all heard the term egg on the face, but I don't want any egg on my face today. So, all right, so we got 2 eggs in. We've got 1 left to go. The last egg going into the, what are we going to call that? The party bowl? Yeah? I don't know. So, all right, so we're mixing it in. So we're making a batter, and as you can see, to make a batter, you got to have a flour. This is not a gluten-free muffin. So we're going. The next step is we're going to incorporate flour, and if I'm right, I think we're going to use cake flour for this. Are we using cake flour? Yes, we're using cake flour. Yes, score for me. Cake flour, got it. All right, so are we going to sift it too? All right, so let's go ahead and start sifting the cake flour. I'll get your dirty dishes out of your way. All right, so we have our handy dandy sifter here. Do you want me to do this? Yeah? All right, so we'll see how much cake flour we have here. If you can probably read the side of that. Let me look for our viewing purposes of making this recipe. We have 1 pound, 0.5 ounces. So we're going to sift it, and you can see it's like, it's a little snow party up in here. So we're just going to sift it all, and I usually do this just because it's a little quicker. And when I bake, I usually make a mess. Some other people are I usually make a mess when I do anything. When the old chef instructor was here, he was like, do you make a mess when you do everything? And I'm like, just about. I'm going to go back to this just because it feels a little more natural. All right, so we're sifting. Just like before, we want to make sure there's no clumps. And we're using cake flour because cake flour's a finer flour than like an all-purpose flour. And different flours, like a bread flour is like a high gluten flour. So all your different flours have different gluten levels in it. I'm going to have to get dirty here. You can see here that this has little pebbles in the bottom of it. That's why we're sifting it, is because we don't want any of that in there. Okay, I'm going to let you have that back. Right. All right. So you can see that the texture of this completely changed. And it snowed on the table. It's stainless, you can't see it, but it did snow on the table. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of this at a time as well. What do you think, Mila? Half of it? All right, so we're going to add half of it. Let's get this. We don't want it to fly. Now that we've really added the flour, it can be a cloud if you completely, turn it up. So you always want to level 1, speed 1. We're not playing Mario's where we go just straight to 10 or anything like that. So low and slow. Sometimes that's the best key, low and slow. All right, so we're going to let that incorporate together. Notice that there's no milk in this. It's just a very, it's a kind of a fatty batter. If you added milk, that would be adding more protein to it, and that can affect the gluten when you start adding in your milk. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to add in the rest. And I'll give you a little tip. You see this bowl, it's not completely round anymore. It's from where people have used them with the bigger mixers and didn't turn them off to where the bowls get stuck in the mixers. That's why they have safety features, so they don't rip your arms off. Students will be students, children will be children, and I will be chef, so. All right, so we're going to turn it back on low. Make sure I left a little out, so see, I almost didn't turn it off. All right. I'm going to give this to a student over here so they can go and get that out of my way. All right, so she's going to scrape down the sides of our mixing bowl here. Mila, how many cupcakes does this make? I'm sorry, how many cookies does this make? We're not making cupcakes. Maybe I want a cupcake.
I think maybe 2 half sheet pans.
So 2 half sheet pans, so that's called 2 baking sheets at home. So the size of these cookies, they're going to be quarter-size cookies, and we're going to take it and we're going to pipe them out. And these are butter tea cookies, so hence all the butter in them is why they're called butter tea cookies. So it's done. Kaput. All right, so we're going to start making some cookies. Well, we've already made the cookies. We're going to start piping some cookies. This is why she's here. All right. So she's wiping down the paddle in the bowl just to make sure, because nobody wants to throw away a good batter. So do you want me, I'll grab your bag for you. You got the, here's the tip. All right. So we have a little, this is called a 1/4 of a sheet tray. All right. This is a piping bag. You can buy disposable piping bags. You can get them at, just about anywhere. Lots of stores carry these. These are washable ones to where if you wanted to wash them. If you're at home and you're trying to pipe and you don't have it, you can always use a Ziploc bag. All right. So, if you wanted to make these cookies a different size, by all means, do that. For competition purposes, they have to be no larger than 1/4. So, if you wanted to make them a little bit bigger, you could. But today, for practice, for her sake, we're going to make them the size of 1/4. All right? So you notice how she's folding the bag over her hand? you know, it's just kind of easier to get the batter in there. And you can see this is a very thick batter. This is not runny or anything like that because it doesn't have any liquid. All right, so she's going to demonstrate how to pipe. You can see she's going to squish everything down to the tip of the bag, and she's going to take and press everything down to where the complete end of the bag is filled, and then she's going to wrap it to where you can start getting pressure. She's going to do a practice squirt in the bowl, and then she's going to commit to the cookies. All right, so go for it, kiddo. All right, go.
Normally we put parchment.
Yeah, normally we put parchment, but I'm not walking over there to get it. So parchment is just a liner. If you wanted to, I wouldn't spray it at home. There's so much fat in these, I wouldn't spray it. And you can see here, she's just kind of dotting down, and then she's lifting up. All right? And you can see she's putting these close together because these won't run. These are going to stay this size. These are like pop them in your mouth and eat them cookies. You know, they're one bite at a time. You want to see if I can do that? Let me give it a shot. I got to get ready. Assume the stance. Mine's got like a little dimple. Hers are a little prettier than mine. But see, I can do it. You can do it. My hand's shaking. Her cookies to chef's cookies. That's why she's doing it. All right, so how long do these bake? You could, you know, fill up your sheets by all means. I mean, you're going to get a ton of cookies out of here if you do them this size. So what temperature? 350 on these? 375 for?
Anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes.
5 to 10 minutes, depending on what color you want them. You know, mine's not competition style. Yours is probably going to look a lot more like mine. It's okay. I'm not ashamed. There's no shame in my game. That's why she's competing, and I'm not. All right, but I told her. Let's just keep that in mind. All right, so by the magic of TV, because she's already did a run through today, I'm going to move these. These are what the cookies look like. Aren't they adorable? I mean, they're cute as pie, but they're not pie, it's a cookie, but they're adorable. So you can see here, they got a nice brown edge on them, and that's what we're looking for. And these, you know, they don't have a lot of flavor in them. I mean, because, you know, we didn't put vanilla in them. We didn't do it. They're just a simple butter cookie. So if you were at home and you wanted to kind of spice these cookies up a little bit, what you could do is kind of dip them in a little chocolate, you know, like a little ganache or something, just so they have a little more sweetness to them, because they're not, I mean, they have sugar in them, actually 2 kinds of sugar, but, you know, they're just a very simplistic cookie. Well, it's called a butter cookie, shortbread cookie. So if you've ever had a shortbread cookie, you know what they taste like. All right, so we ready to make the muffins now? All right, so we'll put these here for that, and I'll let you have this. There you go. All right, so the next thing we're going to make is our blueberry muffins. So you notice we're going back to our mixer here, and we've got 6 ounces of shortening that's going to go in. Now, the shortening, you know, you can buy any kind of shortening at home. We use a super blend. It's more for a commercial product. But if you want to use like your Crisco or your generic brands, you know, whatever store you go to, that shortening will work fine. But the one that we use kind of blends a little bit better. It kind of melts in a little better. All right, so now we're going to add 6 ounces of granulated sugar, which is your regular, the sugar you make your sweet tea with. All right, we're going to put on the paddle attachment again. And we're going to let these two cream together. So as earlier, I explained what creaming was, so I don't have to do it again. So the other parts of the competition that Mila will be doing is she has to make, 3 baguettes of French bread? 3 baguettes of French bread. Then she has to make a decorative loaf of French bread. And then the cookies, the muffins, and then we decorate a cake. Like, she's got to do the cake, she's got to decorate it. She has to take like a cake order. So while that's creaming together, let me show you this. Yes, it's on a cutting board because that's just how we practice around here. But look at this cake. It's amazing. So, you know, the roses, the detail on it, it's a great cake. So that's another part of the competition. I just wanted to show you a couple elements of the competition that she has to do. And we'll move it back out of the way. But I just want, you know, I'm proud of my students. This is what they do. This is what we do here. So anytime I can show off their work, I love to do it because, you know, everything they do reflects on me, and I'm super proud of what they do. So we'll move it out of the way, and proud mama stop talking over here. All right, so what we added next are eggs. We'll use this sugar container here. And here, let me get the trash bin from down here. All right, let's just hope our eggs don't run away. No runaway eggs today. All right, so 1 egg at a time. That egg looks good. 2 eggs going to the party. 3 eggs. All right. 4 eggs. That one didn't want to crack. It didn't want to go to the party, Mila. All right. There you go. Move my trash bowl. All right. We're going to add these one by one again, just so they incorporate. Now, the things about, you know, this recipe here, we're making blueberry muffins. I think I said that, but if you wanted to make strawberry muffins, raspberry muffins, if you want to add chocolate chips in, by all means, whatever flavor muffin you want to make. This is just a generic muffin recipe. It's where you can incorporate anything you want in it. And the thing about this muffin recipe is this is not that sweet. So, you know, if you're looking for more of a, it's a great breakfast thing because it's not that sweet. And if you're not looking for something super duper sweet in the mornings, this is a great recipe. Sometimes a muffin's a little too sweet for me. So, all right. We got how many more eggs? 3. All right. They're all going to the meet and greet. They're gonna become muffins here in a little while. I'm not gonna say cupcakes again because I already said cupcakes. I'm telling you, they keep me in check, Chef. We're not making cupcakes. We're making cookies. It's perfectly fine. So, all right. One more in. So one of the other things we have coming up that I want to mention while we're waiting on our eggs to have a party is on March 28th, we're doing a fundraiser here on campus. We're doing a 4-course tasting menu, and it's actually 2 of my classes' project. My restaurant service class, which is mainly front of the house class, they're going to be doing our front end. They're going to be our servers. It's, like I said, a 4-course tasting thing. So they will be serving and waiting on tables. And then my contemporary cuisine class, which is my senior students, they'll be back in the back of the house doing all the plating and stuff like that. So we're going to make like salmon croquettes. We're doing, you know, some good shrimp and, not shrimp, we're making collard greens and grits and pork and deviled eggs. It's very southern, as you can see, but it's going to be cool. So we're getting ready for that in a couple weeks, and then, okay, she's like, Chef, stop talking, I got to add it in. Okay, I got 1 pound, 4 ounces of pastry flour. So you notice this is a pastry flour, not a cake. This is not as finely ground as a cake flour is. So she didn't add it all in, so I guess we're going to wait a minute like we did a while ago and add the rest in here in a moment. So just going to let it incorporate. Are we adding 2 of those?
Well, you want to do, want to kind of alternate.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. A lot of times when you do this, you alternate flour, your dry ingredients, to your wet ingredients. I forgot. It's okay. So, and that just makes sure everything kind of incorporates together. Now you know why Mark says I don't do these shows, because here you go. But people need to learn how to do this. So, alternate, wet and dry. And you can see that she's mixing a little bit faster here than before because we're adding in liquid. It's not, I mean, with all the flour in there, it's not going to, you know, like come out the sides of the bowl. So, and yeah, this is a little bit of a process. It takes a minute, so. All right, so we're going to add in some more dry. All right. And I actually kind of enjoy baking, just not on TV. But, hey, it's okay. All right, we're going to add in some more milk. And you'll notice here, let me slide in front of you. This is another 1 pound and 4 ounces of flour, so we're going to add it in too. So a while ago I said 1 pound and 6 ounces. There's really 2 pounds. And
No, altogether it's 1 pound.
oh, altogether it's 1 pound and 4 ounces. Thank you. All right. I feel like I should help. All right, go for it. I mean, how many times have you made this? A lot. I mean, this is competition. We're actually going a week from today to do this. I didn't even look at the recipe sheet before I walked out here today. So this is, you know, her thing, not mine. And I would expect her to be better at this than me if she's going to a competition to do it. So that made a funny noise. Oh, go mix that. Sorry. Getting ahead of myself here. All right. I'm going to add a little bit, and I'm going to add it all in. I'm a rebel. Yeah. All right. Now we may get a cloud. Yep, there's a little gluten going in the air. All right. So we're going to mix all, I'd let that mix another minute. All right, so we'll add in the rest of our liquid. I don't know, you think we'll need it all? Yeah? She said, yeah, we'll need it all. I'm going to listen. I'll let you have this.
So when you're alternating, you always want to start with flour and then finish with
Oh,
flour.
yes, good point here. When you're alternator, we're not talking about an alternator in a car. When you're when you're alternating flour to liquid, you always want to start with flour and end with flour. And we didn't do that, but it'll be okay. I have faith today. And you can see she's turning it up, so we want to make sure it mixes very well. And you can tell that this is more of a lighter batter, a wetter batter consistency than the cookies we made, because this has liquid in it and our cookies did not. So, but the thing that you haven't noticed is that we haven't added in our fruit. If we put our fruit in with this batter, it would destroy it. Our batter would be completely, you know, if we're doing blueberries, our batter will be completely blue. So, and it's okay. It's not going to affect the flavor if it's completely blue all the way through. But we don't want our muffins to look like Smurfs made them. So, for competition purposes, there's this, you know, there's another way to do this. Now, if you were going to put like chocolate chips or something in it, but you could add in your chocolate chips right now and you could fold them in and it would be perfectly fine. But for what we're going to do is a little different. We have, these are IQF blueberries. These are frozen. Perfectly fine to use a frozen blueberry for this. And you can see they have a purplish color to them. So what we do is you always want to spray the pan. Yeah, I like spraying. So, I have a question. Did these not get like vanilla or baking powder or
No.
no? Don't they need a leavening agent?
Yes.
Okay, so hold on. rewind. See, Chef knows. Chef is like, there's no leavening agent in these muffins.
Yeah,
So,
if they went in the oven, they wouldn't run.
yeah, if these went in the oven, if you tried to make these at home, they would not work. So, Chef knows a little. Don't let the students fool you. I just got to thinking, there's something missing from these. There's no leavening agent whatsoever. All right, so back it up. All right, so salt, and we've got baking powder here. The salt and the baking powder work together to do a reaction to make these rise. So we actually did end with a dry ingredient. There we go. All right, so we're just going to let those mix together. So, all right, I'm going to spray this while you do that. And you can see that I'm spraying these pretty liberally. Now, if you had butter and wanted, you know, some room temp butter, and you kind of wanted to smear these with butter, you could. If you had the shortening, and you could, by all means, put a little shortening in there. Mila likes to make what is called pan grease. That's got a couple different things in it to where it coats the pans really well. So everyone has a little bit different of a way of doing this. So for competition purposes, we're going to put a little batter in, just a little, and then we're going to take some blueberries, and we're going to put in some blueberries, and we're going to put a little batter on top. I'll let you do this, and I'll be the blueberry kid, so my hands look like a Smurf. I would advise at home, if you did this, to wear a glove, just so that it doesn't turn you completely blue. So about the amount of batter that you want to put in here is 2 ounces is what we want to use. So, and what this does is it keeps we're not destroying the blueberries. We're keeping our blueberries intact so they rise all the way through, and we're not having Smurf muffins. I was going to say Smurf brownies. I don't know. It's been a long day. All right. So we'll finish this one so you can get the gist of how to do it. And you would just finish the whole pan here. And you can see my hands are blue. So, what temp oven, Mila? 400 degrees for what, 15 minutes? 15 to 20 minutes, and these will be done. I'll let you move these out of the way. All right, so we have some finished products here. We've taken a couple out of the pan. If you'll hand me the the muffin tin over there. All right, so this is the muffin tin, and you can see here that the blueberries, they rose to the top, and you can see that the muffins aren't blue all the way through. Like and they have a nice muffin top on top. These are pretty muffins. They're nice and brown. If you wanted to make a crumble and put a crumble on top, you could do a crumble. And, that would be a nice crispy texture on top that, a brown sugar and some butter and stuff like that, to where it would add a little bit spice on top. But as you can see here, these are, that muffin top completely off. But you can see just a nice muffin that they're not blue on the inside. And that's what they're looking for in competition, is not blue muffins. That's the big thing. So, like I said, you can incorporate these with any flavor that you would like. So what do you think, Mila? Are we done? We made muffins. We made cookies. I showed off your cake. So I just want to say good luck next week. I have all the faith in the world in you. So you're ready. She's prepared. Chef's not worried. We're going to go win gold, hopefully. Fingers crossed. So I hope you enjoyed the show today. Follow us on Instagram. Obey Your Inner Chef on Instagram. And you can see different things that we do periodically, and I post stuff on Instagram, so check it out. If you have any questions or anything, always shoot me an email at the school, give me a call. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you have. We're gearing up for summer enrollment, so come by and check it out if you're interested in culinary, to get ready to come to culinary school so you can hang out with me all day. I don't know who would want to do that, but I don't know. So if you're not interested in summer, fall starts in August. So come by, check it out. Until next time, I hope you obey your inner chef.